Hello, everyone, and welcome to Armstrong in the Loop podcast. I'm your host, Seth Prentice. In following along with our recent trend of episodes on COVID-19, I'm honored to be joined by two amazing leaders in the community that help make a huge difference for an incredible organization, the March of Dimes. With me today is Barbara Roth, Executive Director for March of Dimes in Western and Central PA markets, as well as Tina Morascyk, Vice President of the Supermarket and Market District for Giant Eagle, and she's also a March of Dimes board member and member of the Butler County March for Babies executive leadership team. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Seth.
Before we get to our main questions, how long have each of you been involved with March of Dimes, and why did both of you become so involved?
Thank you, Seth, for having us today. I started supporting the March of Dimes in 2010. In 2009, with my first pregnancy, my husband and I experienced the stillbirth of our twin daughters. After that, it led us to the March of Dimes. We found comfort and support and fellowship and information in the March of Dimes, and we've been supporting it ever since with a family team walking in March for Babies every year since 2010. Recently, I joined the Western Pennsylvania Market Board of Directors, and I'm really happy to continue to support this cause, really so that no other family has to experience the fear and the heartbreak that we have. Also, it is a great way to bring our family together in remembrance of our daughters and for fellowship. Thanks to the work of the March of Dimes, my husband and I went on after that to grow our family, and we have 3 healthy children at home now. And I thank so much the March of Dimes, the research they pioneer, the programs they lead, the educational resources they provide. All of that has made such a difference in my life, and I would like other families to experience the benefits of the March of Dimes like we have.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
And Seth, as you indicated, my name is Bob Roth. I'm the Executive Director. I am a resident here in Butler County, Cranberry Township, born and raised. Very proud of that. I joined the March of Dimes approximately 5 years ago. And one of the reasons I did is I did experience some difficulties during pregnancy. I had a couple miscarriages. I do have 2 grown men. I like to call them boys, but grown men. One was born slightly premature with his stomach not completely formed, but he is healthy, 6 foot tall, over 200 pounds. And my other child was born very healthy, but I have a lot to thank the March of Dimes for. But I also thought that I could really help with the mission, which is to fight for the health of all moms and babies before, during, and after pregnancy. And I really thought I could add value. And, working with great volunteers like Tina really is a very nice thing to be able to do.
That's fantastic. So, we'll get into our episode here today, which a lot of questions have come up surrounding COVID-19, and I'm sure there's some messages that are coming out of the March of Dimes right now. Do you have any top-line messages that you might be able to share with us?
Well, I think the top-line message is that this is a pandemic that no one knew was coming, and we don't have much research on this, and moms-to-be need to feel safe and comfort at this time, and really work with their medical providers to make sure they have a birthing plan. So if they are pregnant at this moment in time, we know that the stress level could go up, and we know that that's a cause of premature birth. So we really want them to be working with their medical provider. And if there's information that they don't feel they have, if they go to the March of Dimes website, we've really changed a lot of our information to address the pandemic and the virus, and some things that they can do as far as changing up their birth plan.
All right, Tina, what should pregnant women and women who may become pregnant know about having a healthy pregnancy during this pandemic?
So, we've heard so much in the news and in the media about precautions for our safety, even for those that aren't pregnant. What we do know about women that are pregnant, that they're at higher risk. And right now, our medical system is being tested like it never has been before. So we're really encouraging pregnant women to follow all of the guidelines from their healthcare provider and that the CDC and our local officials have been providing us with respect to hand washing, social distancing, not touching your nose and face, all of the same things the rest of us are doing. But additionally, really making sure to stay in close contact with their medical provider, that they have a birth plan that they're comfortable with, that they understand if there are extra precautions they need to take before any appointments. Keeping their regular appointments is also really important. This could be a time where maybe with social distancing that you could feel afraid, but coordinating with your medical provider is really important. Some providers may have an opportunity to provide virtual visits, and you don't know if you don't ask. And other providers are making sure that before their patients come to their offices, that they aren't experiencing any symptoms, that they're keeping their offices as healthy as they can for the safety of the patients that do need to come in. So keeping important appointments during this time is also still really important.
Barbara, what complications can a mom or a baby have if the mother would have COVID-19 during her pregnancy?
At this time, we really don't have any evidence that it is affecting the child. And so what we, Tina, said this a couple of times, is really checking with your medical provider. But once the child is born, if you do think that you have the virus after you bring your child home, you should, isolate, be in separate rooms, and always reach out to that medical provider for guidance.
And real quick, just to follow up, can you give COVID-19 to your baby during pregnancy, Barbara?
At this time, there is no evidence of that, and breastfeeding is still the best for the child. Whether you have the infection or not, breastfeeding is still the best thing for the child.
Tina, what guidance do you have for pregnant women before they give birth?
We're saying, for all pregnant women, call your hospital or your birth center and ask them about, any restrictions they have on the number of support people allowed inside of the labor and delivery room. Right now, that is something very much in the minds of pregnant women. And we know this at the March of Dimes, because the March of Dimes is providing a support right now to pregnant women, where even our own local staff here in Pittsburgh and in Butler County are fielding calls every day from pregnant women with questions and concerns. And we're saying to them, get familiar with what your birthing center or hospital, what their guidelines are, and stay in touch with what those are, because we know with this that things could change every day.
Barbara, what is March of Dimes doing in terms of direct support in our community?
So a couple of things that we've been able to do, we're in direct contact with the hospitals, specifically the hospitals that birth and the NICUs. We deal with quite a bit. And so we've been able to provide some food to those frontline workers and some hand sanitizers based on need. But we have been really in contact with them, along with providing additional educational materials that they may feel that their patients need. And like I said, go into the March of Dimes website. We have a couple of different tools out there. Share your story, because we do know this is a stressful time. So we have a platform called Share Your Story, where you can get on there and you can meet other people that may be going through the same thing. We know that comfort during this time is very important. We also have something called Ask Us. So if you, for some reason, you can't get a hold of your medical provider, you can ask a question, and we will get back to you with an answer from a medical staff person.
I see that March of Dimes recently created the COVID-19 Vaccine Support Fund. Can you speak about this in more detail?
Yeah. The goal of the fund is really to ensure that families stay informed about COVID-19, that a vaccine is developed with moms and with babies at top of mind, and that the vaccine is distributed so everyone across the country has access. There are three primary goals, really, to the fund. The first is research. That is always one of our goals. And now with this pandemic, it has become more important, maybe even now more than ever, that we will support however we can expediting research that fast tracks the development. Also, public policy and access. March of Dimes has really been such a strong leader enabling policy change as it relates to the health of moms and babies historically, and this time is no different. And finally, awareness and education. I have found, even in my own personal experience, this is really an area where the March of Dimes continues to excel. And so, just like Barbara mentioned with the Ask Me, and just as our staff is always available to answer questions, we want to continue to provide awareness and education, not just to pregnant moms, but also to medical staff, to those nurses and doctors in the NICU, and everyone providing care, including families, to pregnant women and to babies.
And I'm guessing this goes into more of your March for Babies as well, correct, Barbara?
Correct. A lot of people were really looking forward to our March for Babies event, which is a charity fundraising walk that we do. We've been doing this for over 50 years. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary of doing a charity walk. A lot of people remember the days of polio, and the March of Dimes helped to eradicate polio during that time. But we've been doing a charity walk for 50 years now. Most of them were in April or May timeframe. While we can't gather together in a group, we will be gathering together virtually on May 15th. So more information can be found on our website about that. We do have a lot of strong support for March of Dimes through March for Babies. It is our largest fundraising that we do in this area and throughout the nation. We have also created something called, we've been working with Charity Miles for an app. So if back to the old days when you used to get a pledge every mile that you walked, this is the same kind of concept. Even if you want to use it, you want to use it for exercise, you want to use it to fundraise for the March of Dimes, but it's kind of going a little bit back to old school, which I really like about that. But we know that a lot of us are working remotely. Some of us have been sitting for long periods of time. So hopefully that will encourage some exercise along the way. And we will continue to fundraise. We run on a yearly basis. So if you can't fundraise at this time, we understand that. Maybe you'll be able to do something in the fall to support the health of moms and babies before, during, and after pregnancy. It's so important what we're doing to advocate for those moms and make sure that, you know, we're heard and people understand that it is an important time, and it is a segment of population that we need to continue to speak up for.
Yeah.
Now,
And even though, Seth, that we aren't able to have, you know, our walks, and like Barbara, I'm also a resident of Butler County, and every year my family really looks forward to gathering to do the walks and fellowship and remembrance and support. It's a very special day of the year for a lot of people, but we still are going to celebrate virtually. And Barbara mentioned May 15th. But there's really still fun ways to get involved, even though we can't gather. There are going to be virtual activations and challenges through social media that's really going to allow people to get involved, maybe now more in this day and age than ever before.
That's awesome. And that's what I was going to follow up with. Are you going to try to plan something maybe in the future to still have, you know, that key part of getting together for the walk, which was remembrance and celebration of why we're all coming together to do this great event?
Well, what we've determined is that doing this celebration on May 15th is just a different way of doing it, but we will continue to provide the incentives that people were receiving. As you see, Tina has a March of Dimes shirt on. I have a March of Dimes shirt on. When you raise certain dollar amounts, you do get a t-shirt or other apparel or other items. We also provide, if people raise $500 or more, a sign that they can put in their yard in support of the March of Dimes. We know a lot of families really appreciate and like that. So we'll be finding different ways to make sure that people get those kind of things. I don't know that it'll be a gathering like we were doing for March for Babies, but they may be small gatherings. In each, everybody can reach out to their individual March for Babies event leads, and they'll be happy to answer those questions.
Tina, from you, for your own personal experience, if, say, a mother or a family would like to reach out, do you have a certain group that you could tell that person to reach out and talk to us? We're here for you.
Yeah. And Barb, you can speak to the resources that our staff are providing. The March of Dimes website is an incredible resource for information, for education, and that really is kind of a platform to be able to get connected, to find the educational resources and the information that is needed and so desired, especially during this time. And I found myself that the March for Babies event, being involved in the March for Babies itself, is an amazing way to stay connected with the medical community, with your community at large, and also with a community of moms, pregnant moms with living children, even mothers on their journey to try to become pregnant that might even be struggling with fertility issues. March of Dimes is leaving no one behind here when it comes to the journey of pregnancy and of motherhood before, during, and after pregnancy. And for me, March of Babies, the event alone, has been an amazing way for me to really understand that I am not alone, that March of Dimes is here for me, but also that there's an amazing group of mothers out there that have experienced something like me, and those that have experienced nothing like I have, that have come together just as a way to really support one another. And so for moms looking to make a connection, especially now when we are really being encouraged to remain socially distanced, this virtual event is an amazing time to really get involved from home and to have fun.
Anything else both of you would like to mention before we end our show today?
Well, I would like to mention, we've mentioned the website for marchofdimes.org, but also going to March of Dimes on Facebook. We do have a Pennsylvania Facebook page. And if you want to stay in tune with some of those challenges Tina was mentioning, we're going to do some t-shirt challenges and other challenges out there, which hopefully will help to entertain if you do have small children at home. We had a challenge, dress up your dog, for a chance to win a prize and different things of that nature. So that would be my last. And be safe and be well. Practice that social distancing. It's so important at this time.
Any last thoughts for you, Tina?
No, I thank you, Seth, so much for having Barbara and I, and thank you to Armstrong. We so much appreciate the support of Butler County and the greater Pittsburgh area in Western Pennsylvania in this effort. We're not going to stop until all moms are healthy and all babies are born at term and healthy. And we thank the community so much for your support in this effort.
Well, I want to thank both of you so much for everything you do for March of Dimes, and we wish you great success in your Step Up campaign.
Thank you, Seth.
Thank you.
For Armstrong in the Loop podcast, I'm Seth Prentice, keeping you in the loop. Are you enjoying Armstrong in the Loop podcast? Great news! All past and current episodes are available on popular streaming apps and websites. Search Armstrong in the Loop podcast and subscribe today.